अभी एक बार ट्राई कर तेरे एंड पे। चेक किया तूने? हाँ लाइव पे। ओके डन मैम, ओके डन, इट्स लाइव।
Good evening to everyone. It is a great pleasure today evening to have none other than Dr. Kamini Rao, who is with us on Meet the Legend. She has been a true legend, a great inspiration for generations of Ob-Gyn as well as human beings all over the country and pan the world. So it is a great pleasure to have Dr. Kamini Rao, and our gratitude, Dr. Kamini Rao, for your kind acceptance to be with us despite your very, very busy schedule and immense responsibilities. We welcome Dr. Kamini Rao with great regard and with a great gratitude. Dr. Kamini Rao, for us. So before we go on to a heart-to-heart conversation, it will be a great pleasure to go through the life history of Dr. Kamini Rao, her journey in profession at personal level, and what she is set for future as well as for the present. So it's a great pleasure to have, just let me share the screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
So Dr. Kamini Rao believes in the words that be the change you wish to see in the world. We have to always working, thinking, innovating, implementing, experimenting in the life, because we want to see the better world every moment and every day. So Dr. Kamini Rao has been a diligent, versatile, and contributed unmatchedly in the field of assisted reproductive technology. And at the same time, she is a strong voice and advocate for women reproductive and sexual health issues. She has artistic energy, diversity, and versatility, inspiring and innovating for Ob-Gyn and researcher, and ray of hope and blessing to many, many aspiring patients who wish to have family and who wish to have happiness. She is an individual with fine blend of diligence, enthusiasm, determination, and high aspiration. Her journey in the initial beginning years has been very, very humble. She is daughter of eminent gynecologist Dr. P.R. Desai and Mrs. Parimala Desai, and she is born in family of doctors. Her father, Dr. P.R. Desai, was Director of Health and Family Welfare Services for the government of Karnataka. He was the first male gynecologist of his state, and he thrice elected as the president of Bengaluru Society of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Rightly, family of doctors, and her father's great contribution to the Ob-Gyn as well as the public health system must have inspired young Dr. Kamini Rao, and she opted for medicine and obstetrics and gynecology as a subject for her profession. She completed her MBBS and DGO in India and pursued abroad the higher studies, that is MRCOG, DCROP, and the further degrees. You can see the focused young Kamini Rao who is on the books and who is with her teachers and the colleagues. She was married to Dr. Arvind Rao in 1978, and no family start and the family's boundaries could stop Dr. Kamini Rao for getting higher and higher training, because she has something always wanted to be perfect and the excellence. At that time, when the fetal medicine and ART field was just emerging, she got herself trained in the fetal medicine under renowned Kypros Nicolaides Foundation and completed fellowship in fetal medicine from Fetal Medicine Foundation. Simultaneously, she got training in infertility at King's College, London, and that was a beginning of great journey. She worked for 10 years in United Kingdom and then returned to India and began her own infertility center in Bangalore, Assisted Conception Center. We believe that I know her from that time when we had no IT technology, and on the postal address, we had this address of Dr. Kamini Rao when we used to do all postal communication. And that was a beginning of great journey, and her presence as a ART specialist in those times really have inspired many people to work and in this field. She was elected as a FOGSI president 2000, and her tenure is remembered as a year of key changes in the federation. She was a very renowned and famous ART specialist, but as a presidential theme, she took the very earthy and the critical issue of unsafe and illegal abortion, which were contributing to a major chunk of maternal criticality and mortality, and the topics which was not discussed on open forums. Safe abortion, save lives were her presidential theme and motto in 2000, and she relentlessly promoted concept and ways to provide accessible, affordable, respectful abortion care by nationwide workshops. She set the stage for dialogue and discussion with government, NGOs, working groups on right to access and avail safe abortion services for women by crossing the socio-economic, educational, and cultural barriers. As far as personally I'm concerned, my journey and acquaintance with Dr. Kamini Rao started when she was elected for the president, and we did a lot of safe abortion workshops in different societies. A strong advocate for the women reproductive and sexual health rights. She served as chairperson for women reproductive and sexual health rights of the FIGO, done extensive work with aims of bringing about changes in medical practices and making everyone gender sensitive in their clinical practice. She is member of Task Force on Health and Family Welfare, Government of Karnataka, member of Government of India for implementation of the Prenatal Diagnostic Act, and member of Technical Advisory Committee of National Abortion Assessment Group. And she is currently chairperson of Technical Advisory Committee for setting national guidelines for accreditation, supervision, and regulation of ART clinic in India. So you can see many changes which we have seen in last 2 decades. Dr. Kamini Rao was instrumental either at the front or at the behind. Dr. Kamini Rao also served as the president of ISAR, and her ways were much ahead of her time as she started Journal of Human Reproductive Sciences. The journal, she made sure it was published as a chief editorship of Dr. Kamini Rao in Bhubaneswar, and it was indexed, and it is one of the most sought after journal in field of infertility. The voluntary accreditation of ART centers of the country was her brainchild, and now when we have the ART bill in our country, that step, how it put the positive contribution of our own fraternity that we must have the quality care and we must have the support system for ART centers, that the thing and the action was much before the time. She has been a revolutionary person and works on many fronts. She believed in democracy and bringing up fresh talent in every organization. Dr. Kamini Rao might be the one of the very few president who have the imprint till now on our federation when the 23 years have gone when she was president, because she started the Yuva FOGSI in 2000, where the 60% of the faculty is below 40 years. She started Dr. Kamini Rao Yuva Oration from each zone, and they presented their oration, and then again in the AICOG, in Journal Conference and AICOG, and till now, we are having all 4 Yuva FOGSI, and everyone in the FOGSI is looking forward to these conferences with great expectation. Every year, a new stars are born. Every year, the new researchers are born. And that is the contribution that we say we live beyond the post and we live beyond the time. She has been honored by many, many prestigious national and international awards. Padmasree in 2014 in recognition of distinguished services in field of reproductive medicine, honorary fellowship of International Academy of Human Reproduction, Lifetime Achievement Award from ISAR, FOGSI, Doctorate of Science from Bengaluru University, Vidya Vibhushan Award in ICOG, Outstanding Woman Obstetrician Award by FIGO, and Distinguished National Board of Examination Teacher Award by Association of National Board Accredited Institutions. So we can see Dr. Kamini Rao's great journey at state level, at international level, and the international level. She has been rightly bestowed Lifetime Achievement Award by many, many organizations and by many, many forums. But she is the relentless crusader. Passion is her spark. She has produced India's first SIFT babies, South India's first ICSI and LH babies. Founder leading fertility chain, that is the Milan, which speaks for equality and the medical expertise. Set up strong education vertical to International Institute for Training in Research in Reproductive Health, which has been recognized by many, many universities. And nearly 500 students have been trained in embryology and ART. And what this very, very demanding technology, which is all over the country, the Dr. Kamini Rao's contribution to giving expertise and experienced people to these ART labels have been immense and unspoken. Everybody who has gone to the infertility must be knowing, must be going through her books and the research papers and everything. And she has been the relentless academic writer, academic researcher. She is the editor-in-chief, International Journal of Infertility and Fetal Medicine, and the larger number of journal and chapter publications. Beyond it, the philanthropy and give back to the society. Give back to the society is the way of the thought process of Dr. Kamini Rao. She initiated Kamini Cares Foundation, which is an organization which focus on improving, enhancing, and enlightening lives of girl, child, and women in our country. A lot of health camps, educational program, and the setup of Yuva Seva, which focus on the health and the psychology and the comprehensive well-being of the adolescent has been her passion. She has started Medline Academics and the Dr. Kamini Rao Masterclass, where she talks with the brilliant people who have given the imprint on their profession and in their life, has been the much sought after educational and the talk show programs. And what is her mission? Why to be ordinary when you are born extraordinary? And it is Dr. Kamini Rao. We are really privileged to have Dr. Kamini Rao in our lives, because that sets us going for the right cause with the dedication and with the determination. With this brief introduction of a very vast and immense life, we welcome again Dr. Kamini Rao. And before we start, a few heart-to-heart talk, we will like to say something to audience.
Thank you, Sadhana. This has been a privilege for me to talk to the audience, because every opportunity I get to meet the people and to be able to communicate makes me humble, because every honor that I get makes me that much more dedicated, not only to the profession, but it becomes a passion, it becomes a habit that every day that we get up in the morning must be better than the previous day. The best competition should be yourself, and you should look forward to bettering yourself. Never look at somebody else and feel jealous. you always have to say that, why can't I do something better? And if you can compliment somebody who's doing well, then do it. When you criticize, it must be constructive criticism so that that can be taken forward. My passion is my patients, my students, and of course, my profession. I always believe that if you can contribute anything to the profession, it has to reach to the end target group. And so, even though I am an ART specialist, I took up Safe Abortion Saves Lives because 13% of our maternal mortality during those days was due to unsafe abortions. Though I do not conduct abortions myself, but that doesn't matter. As long as you find a pathway, as long as you can connect people where they can have safe abortions, I think that is what is the need of the hour. You can't stand and say, oh, I'm only a reproductive medicine specialist, and therefore I feel any kind of help that somebody comes and asks me, I feel it is a privilege given by God to me to serve the people. That's what I'd like to say.
Thank you, Dr. Kamini Rao, which actually sets the stage for all the discussion which we are going to have in next 50 minutes. So looking back into life, because everybody wish to know that how the person like Dr. Kamini Rao are being framed and the formed. So you were born into the family of doctors, and you see that your father and your relatives, cousins to be working in medical profession. How it inspired you actually being a doctor? Because nowadays we will say, taking the current challenges also, many Dr. Kapil and the children says that no, that the doctor's life is too hard and it is not that that beneficial in terms of the time and the money. How you say the message to the young generation that how you could you were more motivated to do better as a doctor in a family of doctors?
I think, Sadhana, you come in a totally different generation. I come in a different generation. I come in a old school of thought. I did not have all these distractions. So therefore, the time that I was actually studying, we did not have all these kind of distractions like mobile phone and a whole lot of these high-tech computers, nor did we have YouTube, or we had other kinds of, these kind of movies, Netflix and all that. So that apart, the second thing was, it was either medicine or engineering. We did not have any other profession to take. Though I must confess that medicine was not my first choice. And you may say, what is it then? I wanted to be an air hostess. And why did I want to be an air hostess? I wanted to be an air hostess because of the glamour and because I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to meet people, greet people, learn languages, and that is why I learned French. When I did French, and I took it for my second language, therefore, Hindi was my third language. So I never actually took Kannada, which is my mother tongue. So that was the state of affairs when I actually graduated. However, my father said, you can't do French, because I wanted to go to France and continue teaching French. So you'll see at that point of time how diverse my mind was. I wanted to teach, I wanted to be a teacher. So then my father said, okay, be a teacher, but why don't you be a medical teacher? Then I thought to myself, okay, I can be a medical teacher, it's fine. Then he told me, go ahead and start reading medicine. See the number of people that you can cure, and you can go, you're very compassionate and you can speak well. So I think that's not at all a problem. My father was a very strict disciplinarian. And being the director of health services, etc., he was well recognized and well respected. And I liked the power that he had. And so everywhere he went, he would be introducing me. I was the blue eyed child of the house. But then then I told myself, why should I read so much? I wanted to learn German, and then I wanted to learn Spanish, and I still wanted to tour the world. But then, as I went forward, I didn't like it because he called that air hostess job an Aya job. Then I told myself, oh my God, I don't want to be an Aya. Then that's what you're doing, cleaning everyone's plates, etc. Everything. You might as well learn how to write a good letter to your husband. I'll get you married. So that changed my mind. Then I said, then how will I change your mind? I don't want to get married so soon. Be a doctor. So out of compulsion, I became a doctor. So Sadhana, this is the answer to your this thing. I became a doctor only by force.
Thank you, Dr. Kamini. So I think every generation have got its own distraction, and that time air hostess was something, and flight was like the air travel was for the few privileged, and air hostess we look to see. Oh, and but what we can see for all your love for languages, for like your desire to travel all over the world, it was something which was actually shaping your future, because it was something not at that age. The learning German and French was not so common at even at that age. Yes, being pulled to air hostess and the film star was also there. And rightly you said that your concern, I think this has been put on, that today's the generations has been distracted by the social media. Yes, it has got the power, but it has a lot of distraction. People are surfing on like without any aim, and they are actually not knowing that where to go. So rightly your journey and your viewpoints highlight all the things. And sometimes, yes, it is all adolescent issues, and sometimes the family, and sometimes your thought ways lead you to that like a profession where you are destined. So that was a great share. When you did your DGO and then you go abroad for the further studies. So as a young Dr. Kamini Rao, what you could perceive that the ways of education, the quality of education, communication between teacher and students, what difference you find in the Western world education module and what we have in our medical college?
I think both systems of medicine that is practiced here in India and abroad are in a way with pluses and minuses. In India, the resource material is plenty. So we are able to sort of do a lot of cutting. We are able to do a lot of service. But the sad part is that we are not able to listen to the patient's woes. We look at the patient, and even before she talks, we say, that lady, prolapse lady, or we'll say that ectopic lady. We forget that that person has a name. So we'll say bed number 4 or bed number this thing. Whereas the kind of person that we are actually going to treat, or the contact, the counseling, the compassion to the patient, though the number of patients that one would treat in UK in a particular time, maybe 10 or 15, I think our Indian doctors would be seeing about 50 or 60. So you can't expect a doctor, because she has the same time as our counterpart in the UK. So if she goes and sits down and keeps talking to them, then other patients will be falling one on top of the other, wanting to get the consultation. So though we become experts in surgery and in acute care, we lack the patient contact, we lack the empathy, we are not able to communicate grief counseling. And this is what we learn. It's like a finishing school in the UK, where we are able to communicate with the patient, we are able to talk to the patient, we are able to take a proper consent form, we are able to make the relatives understand. For example, if there has been a death or a stillbirth or whatever, we are able to sit with the grieving mother and talk to her. Whereas if we are, encountered with a stillbirth in India, I'm talking about those days, we don't know how to approach them and how to grief counsel them. This is the major problem that we have because of the load of work that we have with us, like say 10 cesareans at night, all emergencies. Now you wouldn't find that there. So where is the time? So the junior most person will go and do grief counseling to that lady, while the senior person is, already stuck in the theater, not able to come and give enough time. So there is so much of difference in the kind of communication skills that you get in the UK. So I would say that having both together makes a perfect doctor, having the skills as well as the counseling skills, because you need both in private practice. It's okay in a government hospital, it'll all fly. But now in the private sector, you can't do what you do in the government sector. You will have to explain to the patient, you will have to be able to take the relatives in confidence. So this is the difference.
So rightly you say, and what's your way that you said that the Western world, and sometimes the people says actually the Western, like the Indian people are natural in a good communication, and the Indian doctors feel accountable and responsible for the patient, while in the Western world it is more like a mechanical sort of thing. Like they are more like air hostess, where they are tuned to say something, and actually it is not from the heart. So I really wish to have your, because many people who live abroad, they say that no, Indian doctors are very personal, and they get very quickly connected. So anything about something about it, what's your perceive before we go?
No. I don't think that's right, because
Okay.
I think again, my generation and your generation is different, Sadhana. I would like to say that the the Western doctor is more of defensive medicine. I mean, they'll make sure that the history is written properly, the demographic data is written properly. They'll make sure that they've actually spoken to the patient, like Mrs. So and so, could you come in? And then they'll make them seated properly. Then they will talk to them. They will actually look at the case before that person walks in. So then they know how to, take off when they left the last time. But for us, like if Mrs. Wilson comes in, we'll say, in India, I will say, come, please. What's your name? And this may be the third time she's visiting me, but we would have not connected. I'm not saying that the Indian doctor is bad, but we do not take that extra trouble. The second thing is we connect as Indian doctors, is that we are very quick with our hands. We are very quick in doing surgeries. We are very quick in, sort of survival for reviving patients, etc. Because that the entire the amount of patient load we have, it teaches us. I mean, you have nothing else but to do. You have to go forward and you have to do things. And in surroundings where you don't have facilities like blood, and you don't have facilities like a senior doctor all the time, you become a pediatrician, neonatologist, you become an anesthetist, everything rolled in one in India. But there they have everything. So therefore, you tend to become more in a kind of with blinders, that you're doing your job and you do it correctly. You won't go out of. Like for example, if you are expected to do this thing and you don't do anything out of, because something goes wrong, then they will catch you. So Indian doctors can experiment because they have no choice. I have seen many times obstetricians giving spinal anesthesia because they don't get an anesthetist in the mofussil areas. I have seen people doing cesareans under local anesthesia. Now, you would not have seen that in the West. So, therefore, Indian doctors are very adept. The Western doctors are not adept, but they don't have an opportunity to be adept. That's what I would say. But what I learned like the finishing school, is my ability to communicate, the ability to reach and communicate exactly what needs to be communicated. English is a beautiful language. So that's what I learned in the UK. I didn't learn much cutting, but I did learn needling. I learned my IVF. I learned fetal surgeries. All that I learned over there. So therefore, I'm very grateful to the UK.
So that's great. Actually, some points to ponder that and a points to introspect as well. Though the time is actually changing, and now with all the medical, legal, and social and the IT, actually the system in the like India is also, we are becoming more and more
Absolutely.
communicative. So you took the higher studies in the fetal medicine as well as ART. So you opted to go into the ART field. So anyway, fetal medicine did not attract you, or you find what was the point which you were drawn to the ART field?
Well, Sadhana, I really did not want to get into ART. My major subject was fetal-maternal medicine. I was actually doing work in the area of fetal surgery. Like, of course, I did fetal reduction. Then I was doing chorion biopsy, amniocentesis, cordosynthesis. I was taking out biopsies of the skin. I was also putting pigtail catheters in the bladder for posterior urethral valves and all those sort of things. But India had not progressed to that level. So every time I did find an abnormality, one, finding the abnormality itself was a big thing. The moment I found the abnormality, I would tell them the concept in India at that point of time, that was way back in 1989, was search and destroy. It was not to search, correct, and preserve. So every time I told them, look, we'll do this. I have brought those pigtail catheters. I'll put that catheter in, or I'll put a shunt in, ventricular amniotic shunt, or whatever. No, 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 no. The head is very big. The brain may not be all right. We'll terminate it. We'll have another baby. So this was the concept going on in India at that time. So then I thought to myself, then I did for RH immunization. I was doing, cordosynthesis. I was doing RH immunization. I was doing blood transfusion, intrauterine blood transfusion. So I was able to save babies like that. But then what happened now, we don't have that many RH isoimmunization patients also because of the vaccine that has been given. But if you look at the time that I came in, I was so intense. So fetal medicine was my passion. ART is my profession.
So
So that
thank
explains
you.
it.
Yes, that's a real news for many of us, including me, because we have always thought that it is your passion, and you are so much, and you have done all the things way back when the fetal medicine was just evolving. It is something a real new thing to know for all of us, and we hope that anytime you can switch to the fetal medicine with this background and with all your passion to go anywhere. So you came back to
I know,
India.
Sadhana, one more thing. I'm the first fully qualified fetal medicine expert in 1986 under Dr. Kipros Nicolaides. And I've had that fellowship and come. And even today, Dr. Kipros Nicolaides is very upset that I didn't take up fetal medicine. So that's also there. And in
So
fact, Dr. Shirish Sheth assisted me in a reduction in HN Hospital, and he was really thrilled to see me doing that.
great.
When I first came back from the UK.
It is
So that's
something.
what I'll tell you.
So listen, all fetal medicine specialists, you can, Dr. Kamini Rao can be as good faculty and the speaker and orator in all fetal medicine conferences and workshops. It was something, a real eye opener. So you came back to India and started assisted conception center at Bengaluru, and despite like that was at that time was it challenging, because now we have a lot of like the research is quite evidence based, everything, media, technology, the lab qualities is very well supported by the various professional bodies and professionals like companies. But at that time, there were so much challenges making media. We didn't know actually. So despite being that busy ART specialist, starting practice in that time, but you took very fast journey to the Bangalore Society, became president, and then the journey in the FOGSI. So your message to everyone, that everyone may see for all organizational, but no, we are so busy with practice, we are so busy with family, and it is so difficult to get time. Your message to everyone that in that you put the same time to the professional body, be it as a BSOG, be it a FOGSI? How could you do it?
Sadhana, one trick. It's always the busy person that finds time. Second is, you must understand you are spending quality time. I'll give an example at home. Okay, a woman has to look after the family, a woman has to have a profession, a woman has to also have her me time. All that is known. Like you have a dog, you have a cat, all of them have babies, all of them feed. It's nothing new. What is so new about a human being? Women also. After all, you do your profession. Everyone does their profession. Okay, some succeed, some don't succeed. But if you decide that you have quality time, okay, and you decide like a thali plate, you have space for salt, you have space for sabzi, you have space for rice, curry, everything, then you will have space. But if you take salt instead of rice, would you be able to take that much of salt? No. So there has to be space appropriate to the quality, whatever it is. Most people tend to eat into their personal time over the professional time. That means the profession eats into every time, and that's why they get tired. When one starts doing the same thing over and over again without innovation, they get tired. It's called an exhaustion syndrome. I never want to get exhausted. So, what happens? I always look at it differently. Like Sadhana, you are actually going in for a FOGSI president election. You understand? I went for a FOGSI election way back in 2000, 1998. All right. That is exactly 8 years since I arrived into India. By the time I started coming in for the election, I had finished my chairmanship, which was for 5 years of fetal medicine, genetics and fetal medicine. I had finished my vice presidentship of FOGSI, and then I was contesting for FOGSI president. But before that, I had done my secretaryship of my local society, and then I had also done my presidentship of the local society. Now, what did I learn from that? Everything was a learning process. And at the same time, one has to understand that your time management has to be perfect. If you say you don't have time, you don't have time. If you say you have plenty of time, you've got plenty of time. Now, when I used to go, Sadhana, the aeroplane, there were not so many flights. There was only that Air India flight. We didn't even have Jet Airways. Forget Kingfisher. It was here and gone. But we didn't have that many. So I had to depend on railways, bus travel, auto rickshaw travel, bullock cart travel, any travel I had to depend on. So I had kept space for that. So what did I do? Everywhere I went, I made sure we didn't even have PowerPoint presentations, dear. We had to have those slides. So I didn't have one thing like, slide projector. Those days only the, what's that? The pharma
Projectors.
companies had. And, to make one slide, the cost was too much. So I decided I'm not going to make too many slides. But when they had any kind of drug meeting, the slide projector will be there. I'll take my own slides. Let the slide continue, whatever it is. Okay. I will speak some other subject, but the slide will continue. Because let them look at me. Let them think that there are slides there because it was too expensive. And then I started interacting with them in such a way that they started taking their mind off the slides and seeing me. And then I told them all, see, two for the price of one. I want to talk to the youngsters. So I'll go to the medical college and give a lecture there. And I'll also give it to the society. And it was more a curiosity factor in those days where no new person entered into that line because FOGSI has a big line. They'll say 2 years it is a Bombay time and 1 year is outside time, etc. I went in a time and I said, I don't know which is which time. I only know it is my time. You understand? So as I went in, they said, no, it's not your time. You're still young. I said, says who? I told myself, this is my time. So I told them that, look, I'm going to stand because my mind says that I can contribute. So then they said, oh my God, there's a lot of murmurings. Why this girl is standing? Why this girl is standing? So then I told myself, I want to stand, I'll stand. Sadhana, you won't believe me. I had decided who is my joint secretary. I had gone and spoken to the spouse. I told them, please lend your husband for 1 year. I'm going to make him work. I had decided my whole plan on what I'm going to do for that year because I knew everyone would waste their time in the first meeting. The first meeting just went on bye, Ben, and all that. So the first 3 months would go. But I had decided no month will go waste, I will do it. So not only that, and I went around everywhere. Okay. I went and presented without, and many people, and it's not like this kind of presentation, Sadhana. I never went and told anyone I'm standing for election. In fact, many of the societies were telling me, in fact, particularly in Nagpur, they said, but doctor, you have not said you're standing for election. See, the very fact you're telling me, you know, when the daughter comes to the house, will the mother's house, do you think that the daughter needs to talk? You vote on the merit. You ask questions about science. Don't talk about elections. I'm not a politician. I'm a scientist. They found it like a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
I'm here to help the youngsters. I want to give a voice to the youngster. So they found it very different. Everywhere I went, I had one lecture for the postgraduate students. And then I would tell them, you name a topic, I will talk on that. So there was an open topic. Anything in Ob-Gyn. Like that, I toured the world, the India. I went to the the eastern part, even up to Dibrugarh. I even sat on a rhino, that single rhino, this thing, with the students. So I was part of that whole thing. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I would get up very early in the morning. I would be with all of them. I would eat with the students because I wanted to understand the students. Because what I did not get as a student in my own place, because there was so much of political things, you would not get chances to cut. You would always be doing episiotomies and things like this in the post graduation. I never wanted to do that with the student. So lesson, whether it is 1 or 10, do not do. I learned what not to do as a senior to my students. And that's why today they all love me. So if you can do something very well, leave it to your juniors. So you have that extra time. And what you don't know so well and you need to know, perfect it, have somebody else also to come with you. And if you don't know anything at all, go with a senior and learn your technique. But today, what happens in our profession, people at the age of 60 or 70 are still doing cesarean section because it happens to be chief minister's wife or it happens to be one of these bureaucrats' wife. How is that uterus different from somebody else's uterus? If we keep holding like this, then when will the juniors learn? Now, whether it is cricket celebrities or anybody, once I said I'm not going to do, I'm not going to do. So when the person comes to me, I say, I'm going to treat you and the results I will ensure, but I'm not going to do it myself. And it was a very, very profound statement. We seniors have to open our mind and say, let the juniors, let the youth come forward because they are our future. And as a result of giving this, I got plenty of time, Sadhana. They did the night duties, they did everything, they did all the cesareans. So what did I do with all that time? I contested the FOGSI president. And when I contested, there were 4 people. That was never heard of. in FOGSI. I said, I am not saying don't come. All of you come. And you please come to Bangalore also and contest. And I'll give you the space for you to even talk. And let's also have a debate. Because I was that open. And you'll be surprised. I had asked my husband also, he was in the UK. I asked him to come down. He said, why? I said, I'm winning the election. He came at 5 in the morning, flight, British Airways. I said, come and stand next to me because I'm winning the election. See, that was the positivity. What do you say, Sadhana?
Great, awesome. And actually, this is something, so many things you like told in that brief things, a lot of things which we can actually take that thali, that we everything has got its own place, and it is not so that we give all the attention to only one thing. We are only doing OPTs or only caring for the family. It is everything has got its own place. And we remember actually when you were president and you were just elected, that from that time I have been knowing you, and I still remember your presidential address, that it is not an easy thing to have the every Friday to leave the home and coming on the Monday morning. I still remember that Ahmedabad conference because I was too young and always used to see that how the these things are happening. And rightly you say that like when what we understand from everything, that you have that confidence in your passion, doing good for everyone, giving space to everyone, and you were actually ready, and the destiny was ready, and you were that confident and that open and positive to even to all your opponents. So that tells so much, because if we are having that much of positivity is bound to happen. These things have been a great learning and giving the place to junior. What rightly said, that we are doing same thing again and again and again over the life and not venturing into the new thing. It can be anything. It can be your subspecialty, it can be philanthropy, it can be your hobbies, but it is the thing that makes you, I think, like Dr. Kamini Rao she is always venturing on new things, young, innovative, and implementing. It was something great and wonderful, because from that time I know you, and what you said, give space to the juniors back, because this conversation is so sank for me. It has a great immense value, because every time I say it was Dr. Kamini Rao who picked me up and who used to praise. I was not doing anything very extraordinary, but whenever Dr. Kamini Rao was there and I was in audience, she says, we need person like Dr. Sadhana Gupta. And that only a small statement could be that confidence building in anyone in the country, that yes, Dr. Kamini Rao, and many people used to say why she likes you so much, but I had really no answers for it. And
I'll tell
I
you,
remember,
Sadhana, I'll tell you, there are a few qualities in you that I like, because you're a grassroots worker. You don't have that polish which people have. You do not say things you don't mean. And India needs people like you. We feel that only those who have glamour are the ones that need to come in, and those that have the money. Believe me, you have to win people. And that's what you've done. The last 2 times that you contested, you had not put this kind of force. What I see today, you have gone the length and breadth, and this is Man Ki Baat. It's not about just going for going sake. You have actually enjoyed your trip. You've actually gone into the skin of the game. This had not happened earlier. And I can tell you, even looking at your face, you have thoroughly enjoyed it. Believe me, what happens above and over this is different. But this time, you have done a great job. Because what is really important for us is that people like you will get identified by the average gynecologist. And the average gynecologist says that if Sadhana Gupta can get, I can also get. That is the kind of message that should go to the average gynecologist. Because today, when they see me, they think I'm a glamour person. But I'm not a glamour person. But they still think I'm in a different level. I don't want that. I want people who really go. And you have made that effort this time, Sadhana. Because I keenly observe each and every person. And this time, very sincerely, you have done it. And I had noticed you when you were very young. You were the only one among those Group C category societies that had a voice which was very shrill, and you would make a point, irrespective whether the point was valid or not, but you would make your voice heard. And I liked it because it reminded me of my youth. That's why.
Thank you, Dr. Kamini. Your words will really, it is a high, it will be a great booster, moral booster to me, and really words for inspiration. And I hope that
But
we
was that
really,
right? Sadhana, what I said, have you not enjoyed this time?
yes.
Huh?
And every journey actually makes you more wiser, and you take the things more easily, and you go forward with a great comfort. So
Yes.
very nice, very keen observation, Dr. Kamini Rao, because you are rightly looked into my soul as well. So thank you very much for it. And second thing, what I remember as your FOGSI presidential address, that you spoke so much about the safe abortion and how the women are dying in illegal abortions by untrained person. So you could very easily took the technology and the ART as your presidential theme. A little bit you have said at the onset, but what make you drive for the 2C change actually in FOGSI? And I was in that managing committee meeting also. And your passionate work about the availability of safe abortion, which could actually prick the conscience. Many things we take for granted. It will happen like that always. But you took that MBA, and all over the country we had the safe abortion workshop. You take care that we all the safe abortion what we have done were felicitated, but recognized at that level. So what made you think beyond your what you say your main area of profession when you became FOGSI president?
Sadhana, one thing, please understand, I became FOGSI president is for the country. I didn't become FOGSI president for Kamini Rao. So it was for the 40,000 people or 32,000 people, whatever it is. So I am not coming there to show my skills in ART. ART occupies a very minuscule population. And that I can do in any kind of workshop, symposium, etc. Here is a vast population where 13% of people die of unsafe abortion, and we have such a strong community of doctors and the youngsters that are coming out. So I wanted to take something that would make a difference, not because of me, but for the profession, for the doctors, and for FOGSI. So I had to have something where you don't have to depend on electricity, something that could be done in the tier 3, tier 4 cities, something that even the junior doctors, government doctors, the CHC, the PHC, and all these places that can do. Then I wanted to say that this has to be into the government, and it should be the slogan of the government, the family planning, because family planning is a central subject. I wanted to see that I have a basket approach and post-abortion care, which was not included. So I wanted to have counseling and adolescent health into it because teenage pregnancies were high. So then I thought to myself, why should I talk about TRT? My work will talk for it. I was known, and this is not about Kamini Rao's president year, but it is the year for FOGSI to make that change. So every single person. The second thing I told myself, Sadhana, that I don't want to be in the forefront. I want to get the warriors, the foot soldiers in the front. By the way, Sadhana, I don't do abortions. Okay. So I took a TOT, training of trainers at Pune. So I took 52 people. I trained them. That was the only workshop that I came to train. Then I said, each of you, and go and you all will get 2 workshops to do. And you will be in the forefront. Your photos will be in the front. It won't be mine. Then I took Noza Sherrier. I said, Noza, you will be that MTP committee chair and you will spearhead this. So I did not go for any of the workshops because it's not my job to do this. It has to be decentralized. And I don't want A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, all the motto of everything in that presidential year, because you will not be remembered for it. I had to be remembered for one thing. That's why safe abortion saves lives. That's what I did. So I got it into the government in Nirman Bhavan. So that year was called the Safe Abortion Year. Then I got this manual vacuum aspiration syringe in the first trimester. So that could be a menstrual regulator. Plus, it can be done without electricity and it can be done in the mofussil areas. I wanted that to be in the family planning kit. It can go across everywhere. So you don't get electricity all the time. So this is possible. With a torch, you can do this. And then I told myself, this is the best. So all these 52 doctors did a fantastic job. But I didn't go stand there for all the photographs or anything, because that is not important. The important thing is to see that the work is done. I gave the stage for all of them. Then I got the health secretary to come for our inauguration when I was giving it. Okay. And I told them that these people have to be felicitated. It was not mine, but everyone felt involved because all of them participated. And then I got the mullah, the priest, and everything in Delhi. I made them all speak in Delhi in a big thing. I made Mala Arora in charge of that. And she spoke. And that was a big thing that was in the press about abortions and all. So what I did was, I had a plan. The plan was not Kamini Rao do this. No, it was FOGSI. So everyone was looking at this and there's no safe abortion saves life. So it was something that was like a revolution. It was like an andolan. It was like a movement. Because you have to see what is your end point. What is the game? Okay. So from going in and trying to say, I will do IVF and put out an oocyte, will that have an impact or will this have an impact? This has an impact. And therefore, we were able to do this and this impact so that now in every PHC and everything, this manual vacuum aspiration syringe is there. What better thing I can do to FOGSI than this? You tell me.
Great. Yes. So setting the priorities, seeing the priorities, that actually where our women are dying and why we are not able to break, and then setting the plan, implementation for it, involve everybody, respect everybody, include everybody, and talk to all the people, all the stakeholders who matters, be it government, be it a religious leader, be it a social leader. And that was something, because before that, we were not talking. It was just like academic discussion or something, a lip service. And it was the thing which we could really make a change. And after that, that FOGSI was also like open many front, and with now the all MTP amendment and everything, because that door was open and we were very like confident in speaking about it, because we have done as a federation a lot, so that we also have the power to speak, to carry it forward. A second revolution, what you did as a Yuva Isar and the Yuva Isar, I will say Yuva FOGSI and the Dr. Kamini Rao Operation. I still remember that Ahmedabad meeting in a small, and that was the like something to say that we will have 4 zonal Yuva FOGSI, and in which the 60% of faculty will be less than 40 years. So a lot of like chaos about it, and a lot of thing. And with 2003 Bengaluru conference, I remember MCM, you says every person will be given only one slot and not whatever VIP it is. So how could you think of it? And it is still like a bed for grooming. It is a nursery now. Still the Yuva FOGSI and the Yuva Oration are in nursery for upcoming stars. So how could you think of that?
I'll tell you. See, I myself is still the youngest FOGSI president. Okay. But I told myself I was also a wild card entry into FOGSI elections. I paved the way for youngsters to become FOGSI president. Till that time, it was always that you have to, become a grandmother to become FOGSI president. Why should you? But I want to say that why this hierarchy? Why can't youngsters come in? Why do you have to age, and then when everything is out of you and your sort of brain and this and all that, and then you want to? No, you should come when you can do something. Then I had, when I was doing my internship and SHO, I had some money which I had actually put into Bank of Baroda, the bank, and that had come. I had not even looked at it, and then I got a letter saying that 4 lakh of rupees had matured long back. What do you want to do? I said, this is great. This 4 lakh rupees. I never thought I had it. Now I got it. I'm so happy. I'll do so much with it. Because those days, 4 lakhs was quite a lot of money. Then I said, no. This is not correct. Kamini, you have to do something else. So I looked at it and then I said, I'm going to do a thing that this was when I was a student. So I will take this money and give it to the youngsters. I will make this Yuva FOGSI. Then I started working out a plan. Why should it be only one? I'll give it to all the zones. Let all the youngsters compete for it. The best ones come in. And this is going to be 4 doctors, like a wild card entry into the FOGSI conference, because the FOGSI conference was full of the people again and again speaking with the same slides. Nobody was getting a chance. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. So I took that 4 lakhs with a heavy heart. I said, that 4 lakhs is there, but I am not going to take it. It has to go to the student. So I took that 4 lakhs. I put that to FOGSI. I said, this is for Yuva FOGSI. I will put this, but you must waive the registration for those doctors who are selected. They'll be selected from their zones. They will give their first oration with my name, because I stand for youth, and they will have no registration. They'll feel happy they came, and 1 plaque saying that Kamini oration, and they'll keep it on the mantelpiece to remind them that they got an entry into FOGSI. Then I had planned all that thing. So when I went there, I gave this. And believe me, the whole thing was sort of a shock to the FOGSI management committee. Why did I do that? Because I didn't tell them. Because then, they'll do some politics. So I brought that and I said it has to be passed. No questions. I did not allow any discussions. And I gave 4 lakhs.
There in that managing committee meeting, I still remember, and actually I was also very keenly interested, and I looked at where is the next FOGSI, and actually how the things that legacy, what you say is it is leaving behind legacy. It is behind, like, leaving a strong thing which always lives after you, because we can say maybe my first few entries as faculty in Yuva FOGSI, and when we did the North Zone Yuva FOGSI at Gorakhpur, that was the thing that I could break through the many barriers in FOGSI as a chairperson and so many things. So it is a great legacy. If it has not been the Yuva FOGSI, maybe I was not there in FOGSI to fight a FOGSI presidential election. So that is a that is a great legacy, and like everybody's think that, and what your money which have been you said so easily to the federation. So this is something that you have to be open hearted also to all the young and all the federations. So it was something, and now you must be very happy to see that the fights happening, that we will do the Yuva FOGSI and we are having election for having Yuva FOGSI, and it is such a great thing, and the fun and the happiness. So I think you must be very, very happy that what made you, and it made everyone so happy. So few things we will say as a ISAR president. Again, very, very important thing, which accreditation, voluntary accreditation of ART centers, start of IHRF journal. So both things actually, both things said that it was much ahead of time, your thoughts and action. And we could have a really positive thing to say to government and everything, that we are voluntarily coming forward for the accreditation and the quality issues in ART. So in ISAR, your contribution has been immense, and especially the start of journal, that is much loved, sought after. So what you say that at that time it was your exposure to Western world that you could think of the voluntary accreditation, and that was not easy. But when today the ART bill is there, we can look back with a great satisfaction that we were already ready for all these changes. So what you say about your all these revolutionary steps in ISAR?
Well, I think, in ISAR, I must tell you and confess that I never stood for elections in ISAR. It was thrust on me, because at that time it was absolutely inactive. Then they said, no, Kamini, you have to take it. You have to revive it. I said, okay, I'll take it. Then I became the ISAR president. And my first thing was to do regional conferences. That means, focused conferences. I didn't want everything of everything. Like conference only on endometrium, conference on fallopian tube. So that kind of focused conferences. The second thing I did was to have all these, programs about self-accreditation. The third thing is the journal. Now, why did I bring the journal? If you see, the FOGSI journal for a long time did not have any index after so many years. I said, I will bring ISAR journal and I must have the index, the PubMed indexing. So I said, I must have this ISAR journal, and under my leadership, I will make it PubMed indexed, and I will give it as a gift to ISAR, because it will have choice articles, and I will have my assistant as Dr. Madhuri Patil, and we'll go ahead. So that started my journey. Local, these focus interest groups, then this accreditation and this journal. When I started the journal, of course, it was an uphill task. But then anything, you have to put your mind to it, worked on it, and supported Dr. Madhuri also. I said, I'm there with you, go ahead. And then looked at it very carefully. Perhaps you don't know, Sadhana, but starting a journal is very difficult. Very difficult. And looking at those articles and going through it and all. So painstakingly, we were looking at these articles, making sure that the articles were absolutely up to standard. I was not accepting every article. So you'll be surprised. When I spoke in the managing committee, I said, I will take up the ISAR president, provided I get the journal for 10 years with no elections. 1. 2, at the end of 5 years, I'll put somebody else. So there was no election. They were not going to change anybody. So all that I had passed in the managing committee. So the first 5 years I sat. Matter of 2 years, that journal was PubMed indexed. And FOGSI was not indexed at that time. See, where is FOGSI? How many years it took? And within 2 years, I got SR journal PubMed indexed. What do you say, Sadhana?
Great, and we can see because we know that the reading, writing, editing, communication to author and getting, it is something like burning midnight oil. It is a real one-to-one. It is nothing glamour in it. It is simple, hard work, and reproofing. And like looking for indexing so that our journal have the impact factor and making pride of it. So actually something which is a real matter of concern about the academic presence in the all over the world in the Indian, where we are having what you say at the start, that we are having so much of patients, so much of cutting, so much of workload, but our voice and our publications are not like that emphatic presence. Actually, this is a great inspiration that again, what is your thali, that we must have, whosoever is a little bit research oriented, don't let it die, like work in it. And what we say sometimes, Dr. PC sir says, who work, who do not publish, and who publish, who don't work. But actually what is the thing, what you say, that actually the people who work and who write, they are awaking all over the night. They are doing much extra work because it is an imprint on the profession, and that is very much like a proud thing that the journal of SR index. And this is something, the academic writing is something that we must have the very like a group of select people who are able to give that dedicated time, and we have the talent. It is the time that we give them the platform, we give them recognition, and we give them the support system from like a people like you. So it is something very like what you have done. It is actually not going vain with the lapse of time. You have done everything which is actually something a timeless imprint, and always a way on which we can actually wish to work on it and keep that legacy high. We will take 2 or 3 questions for your teaching, because the ART, your infertility manual, I think I have read the 100 times before doing a ET in the initial ways. I used to read every morning again and again that what says. That is a class of book, actually, that infertility manual. And it was such a good thing that in Kolkata SUG, you took one bite for me for the 4th manual, that how it is, because we believe in it. What a wonderful that book compilation. So your secret, that you bring the best people for as a author, you do the editing, you do a little bit marketing also for it, for keeping good thing about it, making it presence. So how this comprehensive commitment for carrying on. I think you are this thing you are doing again and again. That is
Sadhana,
academic
I'll tell you.
writing. Yes.
Yeah. No, but Sadhana, I want to tell you one thing. That is a passion in me. I read people. For me, it's not about earning money. It's about relationship. Because money everybody earns, and how much do you need? You don't need too much. It's not the need. People work for greed. And that's where the kind of problem occurs. For me, I compliment. I don't compete. If I see something good in you, I'd like to promote that in you. When I see that you're working very hard, if there is something that is jetting out which is not this thing, I'll have the kind of urge to come and tell you, Sadhana, this is not good, Sadhana, you do it this way. I won't talk behind your back. Because for me, my brain only is this much. So once I come and tell you, I'll empty my brain. So my vision is always that I'm very outspoken, I'm very humorous. When I talk to the students, if I find that they're yawning and sort of disinterested, I bring in a joke, I make them laugh. So there are very many things that I like to do. But most importantly, I never want to be alone at the top. I want to be with people. I like to earn people's respect. And I want to see that if I have to take up a public position, I have to work for the public. It is not for my private self. So If I have taken an ISAR position, I want to see how much I can give to ISAR, not what ISAR can give me. Today, people work for their self-interest. I never worked for self-interest. The difference is that I never worked to be recognized everywhere with a photograph everywhere and a selfie there. You'll never see me do that. But I work to the benefit of the common person in ISAR.
Actually, we need much more than before the persons like Dr. Kamini Rao, because it is our strength is in our people, in our patient, in our 40,000 members, which we can give, like include them, involve them, respect them, mutual respectful. And something very important, you say that it is not for ourselves when we are in the professional body or working for, it is our country's priority, our patient priority, and our fellow Ob-Gyn priority. This is something which it has to be said and resaid and to be shown much more. It is much more needed than before, because we have become a little bit distracted in last few years, and it is something to be our concern for it. So we will have one or two last questions. You have been honored by the highest honor, Padmasree Fellowship of National Academy of Medical Science, a lot of state journal award. So are you contented soul, or you are planning many things at this moment? So what is next, and how you say look back and how you look forward? This will be the last.
Finished today. No, I would like to say that one thing, never be alone. As soon as you get these awards, you can only enjoy these awards when you have strong family support. I would always say that my greatest critic has been my husband. An excellent person, but a great critic. Okay, he has made me grounded. He has been there by my side at every stage. And I feel that to a great extent, a spouse is necessary to support you through and through. And when somebody appreciates you, that adrenaline flows more and more. And for me, any award, be it a lifetime achievement award from FOGSI or from SR or the Padmasree, every award brings with it a sense of responsibility, a sense of pride, and a sense of accountability to the public. So, whilst you may say it is just adorning the shelf, but that is an extra responsibility on my shoulders. People look up to me, so I have to perform more and more. So, award in itself brings that kind of, openness in me that the public have placed that trust in me. What have I done for that? So every day I get up and I say, what else can I do today? Have I done something to deserve that award? So when I reflect, and sometimes I have discussions with my husband, Dr. Arvind, and say, have I done something today? He has been the greatest critic. He said, stop, no more, do this or do that. And I may not like it. We have our arguments, etc. But at the end of it, we agree to disagree also. And that's the beauty of life. You must not think that this is the end. Life goes on, and every day you evolve. You can't put anyone in a box. It's like today I see you, Sadhana, and I say, yeah, you've done very well. Tomorrow you can even be into a new avatar. I'd love to see you. So each and every person evolves. I can't say I know you, because that is sort of curtailing you. So I sort of see new things in everybody. And I feel that awards and all are by the way, but what are you achieving for that award? So I take it upon my responsibility for that award. What more can I do? And that's how I look at these awards.
Great. That is the thing, that everything you take the dignity and the the things behind it, and that is the everyday moment to moment sense of responsibility, that it is Padmasree, that you are representing our country of 1.4 billion, and every moment the way you speak, what you tell, actually you are representing a nation, and that is the like a responsibility which all these awards give you. A great thought, and we have listened up like in this your last few points about your what you are doing. So it is a e-medline, your talk shows, and a grooming a lot of embryologists, IVF specialists. Actually, it is a again nursery for not only the Yuva FOGSI, Yuva ISAR, it is nursery for filling that great need for the embryologist and a lot of IVF specialists. How do you see that in your experience on doing Kamini Cares Foundation, Medline academics, and talk show? How you are learning from everybody, or you are giving learning to everybody?
I think it's a two-way street. Every time I teach, I learn. The more you share, the more you get. So I think there is no question of only teaching, you're learning. So as long as you realize you're a student for life, then your mind is open to learn. The moment you say, I'm a teacher and I finished my learning, now I'm only going to give back whatever I've learned, that means you have stopped learning and you perish. So if you don't read today, you're dead tomorrow. You only get buried later, but mentally you're dead. So I believe that it is a continuous process. You have to read, you have to keep up with science, you have to do. So in actually teaching students and teaching and having interviews with celebrities, you understand their peculiarities. You understand what is that extraordinary in them. Can I actually understand? Can I take the inputs? And that is what I've learned. So 50 episodes of masterclass has taught me a lot. And the same thing with Medline. I have now an online program where there are 63 fellowship students online, and I teach them online. Now we also have offline fellowships. So if you look at all the fellowships in either thing, there are 63 plus there is another 23. Now tell me any institute having single subject, so many fellowships. And National Board has considered me as the outstanding teacher, and they have also considered mine as a center of excellence. So I feel that it's a continuous journey. Just because they've given you something, it is not static. So I wish that you do well and you get the FOGSI president, but that's only a journey, and you have to start that journey there. And I hope that you will continue and do well.
Thank you, Dr. Kamini Rao. It's for something memorable time with you, and it was like a great dream to have time. And whatever I am today, actually, I owe a lot to you, because I've always observed you, and you always what you say, you always very transparent and give your thoughts to everyone, and you are taking interest. I will say that this is something which you have not told, but I say you take interest in everybody. What Dr. Krishnamurti, J.D. Krishnamurti says, like, look everyone with a great interest without interfering. So observe everyone. So what is your quality? You observe every person or every incident, and you have your imprint on that you can do something good for them. So it was something unique thing which we have learned, which we have grown up with you with this talk. And I think whosoever is listening and will listen to the recording of this talk will get many points to carry on in their life, because elections comes, position comes, award comes, phases of life comes, but what remains with you is your passion to serve everybody, to make this world a very better place. So thank you, Dr. Kamini Rao, for your precious presence and a great conversation. And if there are any questions, because the few will want to have Pranjal, if we have any audience comment or questions, please tell me so that we can take it 2 or 3 minutes. Pranjal, are you there? from Corona?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here only.
So if you see any comment or any questions from at the
No,
chat
ma'am,
box.
no, ma'am. Till that
So,
time, I haven't received any
I think
question.
the people are so engrossed in listening that they are not having any any question or something. So thank you very much, Dr. Kamini. Thank you very much. And
Thanks a
I
lot,
think-
ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamini.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Sadhana,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we took a lot of time of your family. So everybody
Not
was
at all.
looking when it will be over. So thank you. Thank you, and
Thanks.
thank you, your precious wishes and inspiring. I hope it will help me in the next 45 days a lot.
It will. Right.
Thank you.
Good night, ma'am. Good night.
Good night.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
All well?
Yes, ma'am. All went well,
Ah,
ma'am.
Okay.
I'll share the
record-
audience details with you, ma'am.
Audience details and the recording.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay.
Fine.
Recording already I have sent, ma'am.
Acha, acha, ठीक.